Mason, last night's fight companion was a lot of fun. UFC 275.
God, what a card, too. What a card. Definitely fight of the year for Glover Teixeira versus Jiří Procházka. That was one of the craziest and most emotional roller coasters I've ever been on watching a title fight like that. I mean, goodness gracious. What a performance by both fighters. I mean, at so many different points in that fight, I thought both of them were going to win the fight and finish it. And for Jiří to get it done deep in the fifth round, it's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, let's just get right into it then. I mean, we're already talking about it.
Yeah.
Jiří Procházka defeated Glover Teixeira, round number 5, 4 minutes, 32 seconds into the fifth round, less than 30 seconds left. And he taps Glover after almost getting finished by strikes himself early in that matchup. Absolutely incredible.
Incredible, too, that, you go to the judges' scorecard. One judge had it 2-2 going into the fifth, which unquestionably, up until that point, Glover Teixeira was winning the fifth. And then 2 other judges had it 3-1 Glover. Glover survives 30 seconds. He would have defended his light heavyweight belt, but Jiří was able to get the submission. And what's crazy about this, too, is the prop bet for a Jiří Procházka submission, just submission, not even round 5 submission, was a plus 1,600. I could only imagine what a round 5 submission was, but absolutely incredible. Hopefully someone bet on that.
I'm sure somebody
nice.
did. I'm sure somebody did. Threw $1,000 on it or something.
Crazy.
You imagine that?
Crazy, man.
Yeah, it makes me want to start spending some cheddar online, but I'm
yeah,
poor.
Washington will ever allow it. God.
They won't. They won't.
No.
Lame-os. Big old lame-os. The cool thing is, where I'm at in Longview, my phone thinks I'm in Oregon.
Yeah, well, you just cross that little bridge.
Yeah.
In,
I'm fucking there.
Yep, and you're there. Yeah, which is really nice. Convenient. But
Kill my addictions are about to start growing. My gambling addictions. No, but either way, man, that plus 1,600 is fucking insane. And I don't think anybody in the world was coming into this fight saying Jiří Procházka is going to be the one to submit Glover Teixeira.
No, and it didn't really look like that throughout the fight either. I mean, when Glover was on the ground, obviously he was, implementing that top pressure. He did a pretty good job. Jiří did a good job of getting back to his feet in some of those rounds, some of those exchanges. But, I mean, Glover was doing what he does best on the ground. And it's just for Jiří to just slip that in, that choke in, and to see Glover tap. I mean, as I said, emotional roller coaster, and I really felt for Glover. It's awesome to see Jiří Procházka. We all knew he would be a champ one day. He is now the undisputed light heavyweight champion. However, for Glover to put on such a tremendous fight and for everyone to count him out against Jiří and be like, oh, there's no way he's going to be able to survive. He's going to get knocked out. And
and he survived.
He survived, man. I mean, his chin is just incredible. He is one of the most durable fighters the UFC has ever seen in this division. And at 42 years old, I mean, hats off to Glover Teixeira.
Both these men, really.
But again, Jiří Procházka is the new champion. And, Jiří was upset. We watched the post-fight interview this morning before we went live, and Jiří was not happy with his performance, said there was a lot of things that he could do better. But Glover did tweet out that, he's like, hey, what do you think about a rematch? And Jiří did not shut it down. So that is a possibility. I know Jan is in the wings too, after beating Rakic, kind of, with the knee blown scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen in this light heavyweight division?
It's a very interesting question that you're asking right now. I don't know, to be honest. I don't think Glover is going to get the rematch. To be honest, 100. I just don't think he deserves it. He didn't defend the belt. This was his first title defense. He just won it. It's difficult. Jan defended the belt at least once, then lost to Glover. Didn't get the immediate rematch. Now he did, just like you said, beat Rakic, quote unquote beat. I don't know who's next. Like, I'm gonna pull up the rankings right now. Like, who is in the wings? We do have Magomed Ankalaev versus Anthony Smith coming up very soon.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, and I don't disagree with that take. However, styles make fights, and you have to look at just how incredible this fight was, how back and forth it was.
Both men had their chins tested constantly. I mean, Glover got wobbled, Jiří got wobbled. It was an incredible matchup.
And I think right now, there is some stock, obviously, with Jan Blachowicz and potentially taking on Jiří Procházka. I think that's an intriguing matchup. You do have Ankalaev and Anthony Smith, but at the same time, man, that Glover rematch, I think I would be the most excited for just because of how good this first fight was. Now, if this first fight was boring and it wasn't all that good and it was a a wrestling match and it wasn't entertaining, wasn't back and forth, I could see that, okay, yeah, he doesn't need a rematch. But it's crazy to think that Glover Teixeira at 42 was winning on all the judges' scorecards, going 30 seconds left, and he would have been champ. It does make for a good storyline, and I think it would sell probably a little bit better than an Anthony Smith or Magomed Ankalaev.
I agree with you there. In terms of selling the fight, I do believe the rematch would sell more, even than the Jan Blachowicz matchup.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. I mean, unless, like, John Jones came back, like, that's
Right.
it.
Then that's the caveat.
You know, like, if he came back, was like, fuck it, I'm not doing heavyweight. The UFC is just jerking me around too much. I can't do it. Even though I put on all this weight, I'm going to make 205 again. Then, like, that's the obvious fight to make. But really, other than that, you know, with all due respect to Glover, I don't think he deserves it. I think if he would have had a couple title defenses under his belt, you would have absolutely, I would be sitting here arguing he needs the immediate rematch. But 42 years old, did just lose in the last 30 seconds. It's a tough case to make for him. But in terms of dollar signs, I get it. I think he might be the biggest dollar signs there. He might be the biggest payday for Jiří.
Well, and I think the circumstances surrounding it, too. I mean, yeah, you do have Ankalaev Smith. We've just talked about that. But Jan Blachowicz, yeah, he did technically beat Rakic, but, you know, he blew out his knee. So it's like, if Glover were to get that shot again, like, out of all the scenarios in the world, this one would be the one that makes sense.
Here's what I would do. If I was Mick Maynard, if I was Sean Shelby, if I was Dana White, I'd do Glover versus Jan, do that rematch. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't think Jan deserves a title fight off of that victory over Rakic because the way it happened, the knee injury. Get a solidified victory over a man that beat you and took your belt. You do Glover versus Jan, the rematch, and then you do the winner of Anthony Smith, Magomed Ankalaev versus Jiří Procházka. If Magomed Ankalaev goes out there and KOs Anthony Smith in a vicious fashion, which very well could happen, or if he takes him down and dominates that man on the ground the way a Glover Teixeira did, I think a lot of people are going to be scrambling for Magomed Ankalaev to get a title shot there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he would deserve it at that point. I mean, what he did, the absolute destruction of Ian Cutelaba, not once, but twice. I mean, you know, I guess Santos. 1.5 times, but the second time he made it sure. And then Santos as well. Yeah, so I mean, Ankalaev has definitely got all rights to a title fight if he can defeat Anthony Smith.
And in the aspect of it gets new blood in there. It gets guys that like haven't had a title shot in there. Now Jiří's the new champion. That was his first title fight. Like, let's get some new names in this top of the division. If Magomed beats Anthony Smith, I'm totally fine with him leapfrogging Jan, leapfrogging Glover, and getting that title shot so we can get some new blood, some new names in this light heavyweight division. Because this is a division there's not really a whole lot of new names other than like Rakic and Ankalaev.
Yeah.
And now Jiří, the new champion. So it's very interesting. I'm very excited either way because Jiří Procházka is just that motherfucker. Like, it doesn't matter who you line up in front of him. That's going to be a big fight. That's going to be a highly anticipated fight. That's going to be a fight that could sell pay-per-views, in my opinion.
Well, and we always knew, too, from the very first fight that he had in the UFC, we knew he would be a star, and that's really what this division needs. You know, obviously there's great storylines with Glover and Jan, but they're not superstars in the same level that a Jiří Procházka, a samurai warrior, like crazy man.
A Viking samurai?
Can be, yeah, a Viking samurai. Yeah, exactly. Like, can be. So I think this is the best thing for the UFC and this division that Jiří Procházka is the new undisputed champ. So we'll see. We'll see.
Only time will tell, I guess. Do you want to get into church coin picks?
Yes.
Let's get into church coin picks. I made my change last night on the Fight Companion. I was like 5,000 church coin in on Glover. And I don't know. I don't know if it was because of the way the co-main event. I don't know if it was because of the way the Zhang fight happened. I was just like, I think Jiří's going to do something special. And I put my church coin on Jiří Procházka. So I had 5,000 on Jiří Procházka. That gave me a return of 2,500 and minus 200 when these bets were placed. It was, I almost thought I lost. I almost thought I was going to lose it all because Glover was on his way to steamrolling that fight and winning it decisively. He even took Jiří down in the 5th, and then for Jiří to get back up and then to take his back and get the submission in that way. Absolutely incredible. Shout out to Jiří Procházka. Shout out to Glover Teixeira. Absolutely fight of the year so far. My prop bet, I did change it as well. I had Jiří KO 250. Did not happen on that one.
Yeah, I think I had 100 on Glover Teixeira and lost that one.
Yep. And y'all said Glover sub 100 church coin.
Yep.
Did not happen there for you either.